Triggered a lot of kind of deep set fears I had already, the home invasion and the apocalypse. So yeah, it was an incredible read. It was just, and I think Night is really great at kind of really honing in on those kind of fears that everyone has. And it feels very relevant as well to the world we're living in now. So it's yeah, it ticked a lot of boxes for me. It was just a really interesting piece of work.
Even as you're reading the script, it's like you can see the film so clearly in your head, and you're kind of like your hands over your mouth the entire time, like what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next. As you said, first it's the home invasion, which we're all terrified of, and then when you get to the real reason that the four strangers are there, you sort of can't believe it. But then it ends, I mean, I don't want to give the ending away, but it has a lot of love and heart in it as well. I think that was really surprising and touching about it.
Making stories for the movie theater that's all that matters to me, and so these type of movies that have kind of tension built in and it's very suspenseful from go. I think 200, 300 people watching it together, sharing in that anxiety, and then the nervous laughter that fills the theater, and I love that everybody becomes aware of each other, and then kind of the emotion that spreads in the more difficult parts and challenging parts where their emotion is moving through the audience. It's just such a beautiful thing to share. So that's the only thing I care about.
I think it's maybe the scariest thing I've ever read. I was so daunted when I was reading. I was like, because I wasn't able to read it until after he'd given me the part. So it was an unusual way around to do something. And I was like so daunted by it. I couldn't believe that we were going to have to all play this together and do these things and be in this cabin for 8 weeks or whatever. Yeah, and I think he's playing into some very, like Rupert said, some very real societal collective fears, and he really wants to thrill his audience. And for them to experience everything I think the characters are experiencing as well.
I'm very much, drawn to older filmmaking and styles and movements of camera and zooms and things like that. So, even we use the old Universal logo at the front of the movie. It's just kind of to signal, hey, this is throwback. Everything about the way we tell the story has a kind of an older accent. The lack of cutting, the kind of the movement of the camera, even the score has kind of an old school Bernard Herrmann-y touch that Herdis, a new composer from Iceland, did for me.
He's such a unique filmmaker. I had no idea what his process was before I came to it, but it really is. He has seen the entire film in his head before you come to make it, and then he's transposed it into a storyboard. So really, as an actor, what you're doing is slotting into his vision and becoming part of what he has already seen. He's kind of like this incredible puppet master, and it's really a dialogue, I think, between him and the audience. I've never worked with a director who is like so preoccupied in a good way and concerned with how his audience are going to feel. It's always about how the theatre's going to feel at any given moment, what he wants their reaction to be, how he wants them to react to a scene. And I've not really worked like that before, so yeah, it was a really interesting process.
I don't know if I could have wished for a more amazing cast. They all brought the best out of each other, and you're supposed to say that no matter what the movie is, but honestly, I hope you can feel that I'm saying to you that these 7 people were like the perfect cast, and they made each actor better, and they were inspired by each other. And they were really, I make them really go for it, and when I'm directing a movie, It's like a play, and they have to really, give it all the specificity, and they have to abandon all sense of protection, and all 7 of them did that for me.
It has so many levels in terms of just keeping your loved ones safe. Also, there's like a spiritual theme there. There's an apocalyptic theme there. I think we've all been through a lot of fear in the last few years with the pandemic, and we've all been in that kind of, are we living in a sci-fi moment? And how do we make sacrifices to take care of loved ones? I think it's kind of like allegorical in terms of, if it works well, you walk away thinking that you want to keep your loved ones safe and close and appreciate them, and keep your doors locked at night.
I was bummed I didn't think of the idea that Paul wrote it first, and I was like, God, I wish I'd come up with that idea. And that's so, that feeling of like, oh, it's so much in my emotion and my genetics, and felt very natural for me to adapt it into a movie.